Hey, so we're at Leon Paul.
Two-time Olympian, European champion, and Leon Paul athlete. James Andrew Davis, what are you doing here? Looking at some blades?
Yeah, just to pick some new blades for the start of the season. The first thing for me, I only ever use BF blades. That's the blade pretty much 90% of the international circuit using. I start straight away, I only like to go for the square blades. As you can tell here, it's a lot thicker. Basic diameter is all the same, the length is all the same around. Some of the blades are rectangular, which like one here, you can tell, don't know if you can see the difference. Of course it's longer on one side than it is the other. Squares are stiffer, and for me I prefer a much stronger blade, it lasts longer. Everybody's different. I know my club mate Alexander, he prefers rectangular blades, but I'll always start square, and then what you have is you have a D and an M on the blade. The M's are a lot more flexible. Of course the D is stronger, stiffer blade. So for me, my style of fencing, I like the blade to stay as stiff as possible when I'm flicking. I feel like it's all my action, not coming from the whip of the blade and things like that. So often what I do is I take quite a few, go through them all, and then just check out the stiffness, really check out the bend on them, to have a look, see which one's stronger, see which one's really giving more of a kickback.
And it's really just a feel?
It's a feel, because basically what you're doing, you're replicating that kind of action when you hit the blades, when you hit your opponent. So for me, then I just line them up in order of stiffness.
Left to right or right to left?
Left being stiffness.
It's essential, right?
Yeah, you don't want to mess that one up. And then for me, just go back, just keep testing, see which one. And one thing I think people forget is make sure you do it in the same hand. Because one hand's definitely weaker than the other, and then you might end up thinking that it's stronger than the other, and it's not. So for me, out of 3 blades, that would be my order. This is pretty stiff, not so bad, pretty weak. So I would leave that one behind. And if you look, they're all Ds, just how they come out. They're always going to be slightly different.
And they're all squares?
They're all squares, all Ds, but they're always going to come out, everyone's going to be slightly different. Different feel to them. And that's how I put my blades. And then take a bunch that I like. It's pretty simple really, and that's it, and then off I go.
And you talk about like Masiala's clubmate, Alexander Masialas, you two are both extremely high-level athletes. Like, why the difference, why the preference? It's really just whether you want a stiff blade or one that has a lot more flexibility.
Yeah, it comes down to styles of fencing, which is key. You know, some people, they prefer the flexibility, they want more of the whip of the blade. I think if you flick more, you might want a blade that's very, very whippy. For me, I like, fence with my point, I like it here. If I do go for a flick, it's still, maybe I have to do a little bit more of the action, but I like to have that control. Everyone's different, so that's how it works.
Now you're a big guy. Is that different for someone like Andrea Baldini, who's a smaller athlete, and like, does your size and strength have an impact on your ability to flick and control a heavier blade like this?
No, not really. The weights of the blades are the same, whether it's rectangle or a square blade, and everyone, we're grown men, so they can all control it. And even if you're flicking, this is the thing I think when you see at the young age, is if you do a correct flick, it's technique, it's not strength. So Baldini can flick just as well.
Whether it's stiff or...
Yeah, it makes no difference that I'm taller or if I'm stronger than the guy. They can still flick me just as well as I'd be able to flick them, because it's skill based, it's not about strength and speed. It's just about timing and setting upright, and so the blade is just a small part of what we want, part of our technique, but it's not the be all and end all at the end of the day.
And was this something like you had to make a deliberate decision about at some point in your fencing career, or you started with the square and you just continued using it?
I think the fun thing is that as a kid, I remember we all wanted the coloured blades. That was as a child, we all wanted the blue blades. The blue blades were the best blades, they were the coolest, they were the stiffest. It's not true, it's just a die. It's basically put in the bar, colour the metal. That's all it is, there's no difference. As you grow up, then you start to learn what's better, what feels better. And for me, I start with squares, I find last longer for me. Not that they break earlier, it's just that I feel that these bend a lot more. And then once it's gone for me, I can't use the competition anymore. I like a almost new blade, basically. So I go through a lot of blades.
That's where Leon Paul comes in.
That's where Leon Paul comes in, that's it, exactly.
Thanks, James Andrew.
No problem.